Hi all. A very strong tournament taking place at the moment is the Corus A tournament in the Netherlands. In round 3, a couple of the highest seeds, Ivanchuk was playing white, Vassily Ivanchuk, against Teimour Radjabov. So Ivanchuk kicked off with d4, and he used the Bayonet attack system, which, if you remember, that there's a video which we've done on this channel, which shows how dangerous the Bayonet attack against the King's Indian can be. So it's the Bayonet attack, just to remind you, is this quick b4 here. Radjabov is the leading exponent in the King's Indian defence, one of the few Super GMs that still plays it. So let's see what happened in this game. After knight e8, Ivanchuk played a4. After f5, a5. So white's getting quite a dominant space advantage on the queen side very rapidly, as one would expect from this bayonet attack system. After knight f6, bishop g5 was played, and now Radjabov plays knight h5. The knight feels slightly loose here on h5 as a tactical vulnerability, and there's an interesting variation I've been looking at actually. In the game, e takes, g takes was played, and now it would seem that knight takes e5 is not so clever to try and exploit that knight. But actually I looked a little bit deeper here at knight takes e5, and I have to show you some fascinating variations. After bishop takes e5, bishop takes, it seems white's just losing a piece here because the bishop takes c3, but actually rook a3 seems to be quite a powerful resource, even though white's a piece down. Black's king is a little bit shaky here, and these bishops are kind of dangerous. So let's see, for example, bishop f6, bishop h6, and black could be really getting bashed here in this kind of variation. For example, like this, and now rook e1, trying to control e7 is useful, combined with, say, queen a1, so say bishop d7, queen a1, and this kind of variation could see white regaining material with massive advantage. Well, this endgame would be winning for white. So that's just one of the fascinating variations I've been having a look at here in this position. That knight takes e5 might actually be playable, but maybe black doesn't have to play like this. There's other moves like bishop e5, bishop h6, and now just instead of moving the rook, just maybe trying to sacrifice the exchange with king h8. So this wouldn't be so bad as that variation we just saw. So anyway, in the game, after g takes f5, white played just queen d2. So Ivanchuk's just playing, to strengthen his control of this diagonal. And after knight f6, he now plays c5. So white's queenside attack is really, pushing ahead. After bishop d7, now b5. It seems there's no end to it. Look at these pawns just storming down the queen side. So Radjabov is saying, come and get me. He says that with bishop e8. And Ivanchuk proceeds even further, c6. So this is quite amazing, actually, that this space advantage didn't, virtually guarantee white a victory. So what happened here? b6, and now knight h4. It seems Ivanchuk wanted to start targeting f5 and the light squares in general. So we see now here a plan to try and rip open these light squares. Bishop g6, Radjabov is patiently defending now, but f3 is preparing the nasty g4. After queen e8, white also plays king h1, so maybe rook g1 is also going to be useful once g4 is played. King h8, bishop c2, and now after queen f7, finally now g4. So white's content in gaining a big space advantage on the queen side, and now is working on the king side. So how did Radjabov survive this? He played knight f to g8, and now rook a4. So this rook on the a file is quite powerful via a4 as well to try and switch to the king side. But we get here apparently a massive time scramble with both players, just minutes on their clock. But Ivanchuk, only having like 1 minute to Radjabov's, several minutes. So the queen side was opened up with rook a7, seemingly, a dominating rook, on the 7th. After rook c8, now knight takes, g6, queen takes, and here, Rybka gives advantage to white. So rook g1, it seems, everything's, playing to white's advantage here. Both of the rooks are very active, and queen f7 seems to be a passive move. Rook g3, and still, advantage to white, according to Rybka. Now knight e2, so white's just using that f4 square now. So knight f6, knight f4, and the knight's potentially coming into e6. So this is the kind of unpleasant sort of position you can get into as a King's Indian player. But Radjabov persists with e takes f3, and after g takes f5, now he just snaps white's d5 pawn. After rook takes f3, knight takes f4, queen takes f4. It seems after bishop f6, finally Radjabov is trying to blockade that pawn. If he can do that, this bishop's not going to be that dangerous. It's not going to be extended in scope. And, he has something to sort of build up pressure behind. After bishop b3, he's still, not out of the woods. He plays queen h5. And now, bishop takes f6, rook takes f6, bishop e6. Radjabov is able to play rook c f8, and there's a nasty tactical threat here. I wonder if you can spot it. I'll give you 5 seconds. But first, I'll play white's move, so we have the position. So can you spot what black played here? 5 seconds starting from now. Okay, black played rook takes e6, and this spelled a disaster for Ivanchuk, because after f takes e6, rook takes f4, rook takes f4. Now Wijk still has to be careful. If he played black has to be careful. If black had played a casual move like queen g5, then rook f8 is dangerous still, because knight g8, e7, and it's probably just the draw by perpetual check here after queen c1. That's all Wijk could hope for. But unfortunately, the disaster doesn't end there, because in this position, can you see how black has a clear win? I'll give you another 5 seconds, starting from now. Okay, queen d5 check. So exposing the king to get the king to be on the g file, because after king g1, unfortunately, you can spot it now. I'll give you 5 seconds again. Queen g5, just picking up the rook. So that's it. Ivanchuk had to resign. So it was a bit of a tragic game, because if we look at that, the Bayonet attack which Ivanchuk employed did gain a huge queenside space advantage. So Radjabov just held in there, and even after being attacked now on the king side with wrenching moves like f3 and then g4, just leveraging this f5 pawn to rip open the g file and the light squares, Radjabov was able to somehow hold on and blockade the white f5 pawn when it captured on f5. So that gave black some hope. Once this blockade was established, black could just double up rooks and start threatening things himself, like rook takes e6. So here, Ivanchuk should have just played rook g3 and he could hold this position, because, for example, knight takes f5, bishop takes, rook takes, there's queen d4 check. So this diagonal is quite dangerous against the black king, and this kind of variation would be equal, according to Rybka. So unfortunately, in the game, after rook takes c7, disastrous blunder, it allowed rook takes e6. So these kind of blunders can occur even to the top, super GMs, if they've only got like a minute to play several moves. It can happen to anyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.